Okay, so I have recorded this class today. Okay. Yap, saya share screen. Okay. Alright. So, before the last semester break, so we have done on the chapter 4. Okay. So basically, sorry, chapter 4 lah. Alright. So today we proceed with chapter 5, which is the economics. Alright. So basically, this is a quite lengthy slide. About 98 slides. Okay. So basically, bear with me. Okay. For this entire class, I will try to go as fast as I can. Alright. So you can stop me at any time if you have any inquiries or you have any question. Okay, during this session. Okay. So hopefully this session is you can focus lah. Especially after lunch hour. Tadi. Alright. So MEC600 chapter 5, which is the economics. Alright. So what is content inside the chapter 5 economics? Okay, so in this slide we will discuss on the market, demand, supply and price. Okay, and also we have the three types of economics, as we call it, as a perfect competition, oligopoly and monopoly. Okay, and then we will go on the GNI, GDP, GNP, GST and taxes. Okay, so basically this taxes is at the last slide. Okay, and then we have the national income and expenditure. Okay, and then inflation and productivity, cost of living, types of financing, and lastly calculator apps. Okay, so this chapter 5.5 up to 5.8 we will discuss on other slide lah. Okay, so today we focus on the 5.1 up to 5.3. Okay, alright. So this is the objective. Okay, so at the end of this lecture, the participant should be able to identify what is the fundamentals, what we call it as a economic, what is the demand, what is supply, what is price. Okay, and then explain basic theory about economic. Okay, and then what is the meant by GDP, GNP. Okay, and then the taxes. Okay, number 4 is to understand the concept of inflation. Okay, and also the productivity. Okay, so this is the basic apa we call it as a basic presentation, what is productivity lah. Okay, so this productivity is quite broad. So we narrow down only the basic fundamentals. Okay, and then number 5 is to understand the concept of cost of living, types of financing, and calculator apps for financial management. Okay, so that is the objective for this session, this economic session. Right. Okay, so this is the general context of economics. So basically, when we talk about the economics, that we have two terms. Firstly, we call it as a economics, and then economy. Okay, so the basic fundamentals of economy and economics. Okay, economics is the study of production, consumption, and also the transfer of wealth. Okay, so that is the economic. When we talk about economic, basically is a transfer of wealth. Okay, so the transition between the user and the seller. Okay, and then we have the economy. Okay, so economy is the state of a country or region in terms of the production and consumption. Okay, any goods that is being traded. Okay, so basically when we talk about the production, which is the demand, if you have a demand and then we have the production. Okay, the consumption is to supply the demand. Okay, so that is a basic term of economic and economy. Okay, so this is the methodology. Okay, so we have the economics, macroeconomics, and also the microeconomics. Okay, so basically economics is a social science. Okay, what you learn in engineering is a science and technology. Okay, so which means that we are talking about fact. Alright, so basically you have the answers, although it's not the one and only answer, but you have the right answers. For social science especially, is only talking about the phenomenon, the theory behind that, and then what is the factor influence. Okay, so that is the economic. We call it as a social science that study the behavior of the organization and also the individuals. Okay, all right, and then the biggest spec, when we call about the biggest spec of economic, we call it as a macroeconomic. Okay, so that is the bigger picture. When we talk about the nation, what is the contribution of your nation towards the other nation, towards this world. Okay, so that is, we call it as a macroeconomic. And then focus down, narrow down into the individuals, we call it as a microeconomics. Okay, all right, and then this is some of the extra reading for you. Okay, you can click this link. Okay, given link directed to the YouTube lah. Okay, so why we need to study economic? So basically, people need to study economics to learn the economic way of thinking and to understand how man makes choices in the present of scarcity. Okay, so that is the basic economics. So what you learn today is only the basic fundamentals of economics. It's not the broadest term. All right, so this is only one of the chapters inside the EIS. So basically, we talk about the basic economics lah. Okay, and then you need to know what is the market. Okay, and then what is the rational choices, how you choose, and what is the demand. Okay, we will talk later. And then to understand the society, why we need the richest person and why there is still exists the poor person. Okay, all right, so that is the economic point of view. Okay, and then to understand society, why we have the rich society and also the poor society. Okay, so basically that is the economic. And then we have the current global affair. Okay, what happened to Greek, what happened to China, what happened to India, and then to inform the citizen what is the depreciation is all about. So currently we are dealing with the great depreciation because of pandemic. Okay, and then many things we can discuss basic on the economic. We will go to later. Okay, so this is the additional reading. You may refer to the YouTube. Okay, I have given earlier link. Okay, so macro and micro economics. Okay, so basically this micro and macro are intertwined. Basically is correlated to each other. Okay, so basically as economics gain understanding of certain phenomena, they can help nation and individuals make more informed decision when allocating resource. Okay, so basically you have the resource, what is your option? Okay, so that is to go through by the macro and micro. Okay, so basically the decision is something like during this depreciation, why the government intend to promote the local tourism. Okay, why tourism need to be sustained? Why during this depreciation, why you cannot keep your money, but the government promote for tourism punya effect. So why? That is the correlation between the macro and the microeconomic. Example, alright. Okay, so things to ponder. Why? What are some of the problems associated with the study of economics? Okay, that bear in mind. Why we need to know why we should know the basic economics. Okay, so basically generalizing from individual experience, okay, basically you will lead to the wrong conclusion. Okay, okay, for example, individuals become richer by increasing his saving. Okay, if you as an individual you want to become more rich, you need to be less spending, because you can gain your profit, you can gain your treasure. Okay, but as a society as a whole, but if you keep your money for your own, all right, so basically it's not contributing to the economic growth, because there is no trading there, because others people cannot benefit what you have. Okay, so that is the basic of economic. Why you need to study the economic? Either you are one of the contributor to the economic growth, or you just kept by yourself, you become the passive economist. Okay, so that is a things to ponder. Why we need to study the economic. Alright, so we go for the demand, supply and price. So what is meant by demand? Demand is basically a quantity. Okay, basically you are the buyer, so what is the quantity of needs, the good need from the buyer. Okay, and then we have the supply. Supply is the manufacturer. Okay, you have the demand, so what is the manufacturer can supply towards the demand. So we have the supply relationship. You have the demand, you have the supply. Either it can be supply or it can be more demand. Okay, alright, so we look into this. Okay, of course between the demand and supply we have the price at the middle. Increasing your demand, alright, so basically the price will go up. Okay, and then increasing your supply, the price will go down. Okay, so we look into it. Okay, and then for further reading you can refer to this YouTube link. Okay, alright, so another YouTube link. Okay, so this is the your what we call it as a further reading. Yeah, okay, so this is the law of demand. So which means that when you have the demand and you have the quantity, okay, basically the lower the demand, the price will go up. Okay, that is the basic things lah, which means that you are only the sole player. Okay, so basically you have the goods on you. Okay, so then you can get the right price, or you can increase your price because it's only you the player. But if let's say for example the many player offering the same goods, the price will go down because of the supply is more towards the ni lah. Okay, and then for the manufacturer, if you producing more quantity of goods, okay, the cost of the manufacturer will decrease. Okay, some goes like this. Okay, which means that increasing in the quantity, you will reduce the price. Okay, but if you have the supply, okay, the supply, which means that you have the demand. Okay, you have the demand, but the demand is more growth depending on the supply. Okay, so basically higher the demand, the quantity of price also will increase. Okay, because of there is a market. Okay, so that's why the price will increase. But both of these you have the interaction, we call it as a intertwin. So what is the correlation between the supply and demand? So this we call it as a equilibrium price and quantity, which means that this is the equilibrium point, which means that this is the most effective way, this is the optimum condition between your supply and also your demand. Okay, which means that the higher, if this price is shifting to the right, okay, which means that your supply will increase, your price will increase, your demand will drop because of higher price. Okay, but if you shifted towards the left side, okay, the demand will go up but your supply will drop, and then your price is also dropping. Okay, your price will drop. Okay, so that is the equilibrium price and quantity. Okay, all right. So this is the excess supply. We call it as a, this is the excess supply. Okay, and then this is a excess demand. Okay, so demand, the price will go much lower. Okay, depending on the supply and demand. Okay, all right. So this is depend on the equilibrium condition. Okay, we call it as a change in demand. Okay, so for example, okay, here we have the D. D is your the price. Okay, so this is the, if let's say for example you have the price per item 4. Okay, so the quantity demand per individuals somewhere goes like this. Okay, the demand market, okay, is about 3,500, somewhere around these figures lah. Okay, so demand per individual we have about 3.5 lah. Okay, so this, and then if let's say for example the demand of the quantity item is increasing, let's say for example here is 11,000, so it shift towards the right. Okay, so the price will go down. It's about $1 because of the quantity. This we call it as a shift of demand. Okay, shift of demand depend on the market, the supply and demand. Okay, all right. So this is the price movement. As I mentioned in previous slide, we call it as a shift of demand. It will also affect your price. Okay, so basically, if your quantity is also increasing, okay, basically the demand will go lower. Okay, because of many people have their quantity. Okay, so the price is also will shift towards. Okay, but also depend on the supply. Okay, if the supply we this is the difference thing. This is point 1, Q1, quantity 1. Okay, so this quantity 1, okay, the price will go down depend on the quantity supply. Okay, so this is vice versa lah. Okay, so this also the call, we call it as a price movement, as I mentioned earlier in the previous slide. Okay, all right, and then this is the price shift. The market trend is much similar. Market trend is much similar, but the quantity is moving. Okay, but the price remain the same. So this we call it as a price shift. Okay, previously I have mentioned about the demand shift to the right, to the left. Okay, here we call it as the price shift. Okay, so depend on the supply and also the demand. Okay, they also have the, we call it as a price shift, whereby your price will maintain, but your demand and the quantity will differ. Okay, which means that they maintain the price. Okay, the quantity will differ. Same goes here. Okay, where this occasion, this is what we call it as the example. The example of, let's say for example you have the cellular phone. Okay, the phone. Okay, so basically the first launch you have the higher price. Okay, but there is some, we call it as some occasion, that model they have the price, and then the price will go decrease by time, and then the manufacturer will offer the new model. Okay, the new accessories and also the new model. So that model also this shift, that we call it as the same quantity remain the price, but you have additional extra. That depending on the current market situation lah. But the price shift is remain the same, but you have the additional something. Okay, but the price is quite similar. Those we call it as a price shift. For example, the first launch of iPhone 6, iPhone 7, 3,000 something, 8,000 something. Okay, so basically then the iPhone 8, 9, much similar. Much similar. It's not exactly similar, but it's much more range towards that value, but with the additional of accessories, and then additional of technology, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that we call it as a price shift. Okay. Alright, so we have the monopoly, oligopoly, and perfect competition. Okay. So what is a monopoly? Okay, so basically monopoly is a no substitute, which means that there only one in the market. Okay, for example, TNB, okay, and also Shabas, so that we call it as a monopoly lah. Okay, so what is a oligopoly? Oligopoly is at that certain industry, only the certain player. It's not for all, a certain player only. Okay, for example, here is a telecommunication lah. Okay, and then we have also for example, in the Malaysian market, okay, let's say for example you have the car. Okay, car manufacturer is only Proton and Pro2. Okay, so that is a oligopoly. It's no other player inside that car market segment, the manufacturer lah. Of course, you have the imported model lah, but for the Malaysian car manufacturer only we have two. And then after that we have the perfect competition. What is the perfect competition? Perfect competition is open to all. Okay, if you want to sell your product, so go to this perfect competition, and then you have the open market. Depend on the your buyer and your demand. Okay, so you have your friend coming in. Emit. Okay, go back to your slide. Okay, so that we call it as a perfect competition. Oh, sorry. Okay. So this is the market structure. Okay, so basically your perfect competition, you have many buyers and seller. Okay, none being able to influence the price. It all be based on the market. If you put over price, the buyer will not buy from you. But if you decrease your price, okay, of course the buyer will intend to buy from you, but you have a less profit lah. Okay, so that we call it as a perfect competition. But also for monopoly, also some say that monopoly you can control the price, you can keep it higher because no other player besides you. But at the end of the day, normally in monopoly is being stringent by the law. Okay, for example, the TNB cannot increase their price, okay, as they want to do. Okay, but they have to request from the government, okay, to increase their price. Okay, so that is the what is a disadvantage from the monopoly lah. Okay, okay, so this is the sample of the characteristic. Okay, either the perfect competition, oligopoly, and also the monopoly. Okay, for example, number of firms. Okay, the player is for perfect competition is too many. Anyone can go in towards this perfect competition. For example, you want to sell your apam balik, contoh. Okay, for example. So basically, anyone can sell your apam balik. Alright, either you want to sell your goreng pisang or you want to sell your goreng ubi. Okay, depend. Alright, so basically for oligopoly is a few dominant firm. Basically in this oligopoly is also controlled by the government lah. Alright, and then the monopoly of course is only one player, and it very stringent with the law. Okay, it's being controlled by the government. Okay, so the monopoly, the price maker is constrained by the demand curve and also the regulation. That is the player. Okay, so basically you can control the market, but at the end of the day, the government will stringent you with the regulation. Okay, and then we have the oligopoly, but this depend on the interdependent behavior and also the interruption of the government policy. Okay, so you cannot increase your price as you want to do. You cannot do that. If you want to do that, you must go to the perfect competition. You can either increase, you can either decrease your price, depend on your strategy. Okay, so this is the example of monopoly. Okay, another example. Okay, you can click this link. Okay, and then this is another example. Okay, all right. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the monopoly. Okay, I skip this part. All right, monopoly, oligopoly, and also the perfect competition. I skip this part. Okay, so we proceed with the GNI, GDP, and GNP. Okay, so if you want to further reading for GDP, gross domestic product, you can look into this YouTube lah. Okay. Okay, so we have the GDP and GNP. So what is a GDP? GDP we call it as a gross domestic product. GNP is a gross national product. Okay, so basically then we call it as the total number of payment made to the foreign nation is deducted from the production and income. Okay, so we have the output measure, we have the expenditure, and we have the income measure. Okay, all right, so we look into this one by one. Okay, so what is a GDP, gross domestic product? So GDP is the best way to measure the country economy. Okay, so GDP is the total value of everything, okay, produced by all of the people in the country. What is your product? Okay, so everything inside the nation, the country, they're producing the product, we call it as a gross domestic product. Okay, it doesn't matter if the citizen or foreign owner company. Okay, as well as they operate within that country. So what is the output? We call it as a GDP, gross domestic product. Okay, all right. So basically, what how to calculate? You can read to this product. Sekejap. Okay, sorry. Alright, so basically, where I was right now? Okay, GDP, GDP. Okay, so basically when we talk about GDP, also they will influence by the recession and also the depression. Okay, so basically what is the meant by recession? Which means that if you have your output being interrupted, so which means that there is something recession or depreciation. Okay, recession means that kemelesetan, ekonomi. Okay, so basically that is being measured by GDP, the output from the country. Okay, and then how it will affect you? Basically, the GDP will increase your will measure the country growth. Okay, basically when the country is good when producing the product. Okay, basically the government will intend to put much allocation towards the national growth. Okay, you have your opportunity lah. Okay, normally from the other side, okay, the impact side of the company development, Okay, they want to reinvest again to increase the GDP, which means that that will contribute towards the national punya growth. Okay, as you are individuals. Okay, so basically if you want to increase your business, to increase your job salary, okay, that is the opportunity, because everybody will intend to develop and also to increase the growth of your company. Okay, your friend dah tak ada dah, hilang lah. Okay, alright, so that is how GDP impact your product. Okay, so main factor that influence GDP, okay, first of all your human resource lah, the capital. The first capital will be the human resource. Either you have your skilled worker, okay, or you have the professional worker. You have your enough the unskilled worker to work towards your GDP, or you need to produce your output. Either you have your main resource, the human resource, who will producing your product. So the human resource is one of the very important factor. Okay, although currently we are discussing about the IR 4.0, Industrial Revolution 4.0. When we talk about Industrial 4.0, they want to resubstitute, okay, or they want to increase the efficiency by eliminating the human error. Alright, which means that they will increase the technology by adding the robotics, the artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth. Okay, but still you need the human resource to manage the technology. Okay, and then you have the natural resource. Okay, other than human resource, you must have your natural resource. If you want to produce your good, you must have the natural resource. So either the natural resource is being come from the country itself, or you need to import the natural resource, depend on the market and supply. Okay, and then lastly we have the capital. Okay, either involving your land, involving your building, machinery. So that capital, also the facilities around that land, is also we call it as a capital formation. Yeah, of course, if you want to develop your own business, okay, you must have your own place. So that place involving the land or involving the building, so that we call it as a capital formation. And then we have the technological development. Okay, you can fight with the market. Okay, you can produce the product, but at the end of the day, technology is playing very important consideration, because of, let's say for example, you using the traditional way, but your competitor using the high technology high technology punya process. Okay, so basically they have the very good efficiency, but you still using the traditional way with a very low efficiency, which means that the losses, the profit from you towards your competitor is a very high margin. So the technology playing very important tools. And here talking about technology in Malaysia currently for this development country, we have other than engineering courses, we have the technological courses. Okay, which means that to meet the technological development. And then we have the lastly social and political factor. Okay, currently if you know, you have read your current situation, you have the political factor very unbalanced. Okay, so basically this is a very unfortunate lah for our country lah. Okay, political factor is very important thing to be considered, because it will increase your policy, the rules, the government rule is based on this political factor. Okay. So this is the example of GNI, gross national income. Okay, you can refer to these slides. Okay, and then we have the difference between GDP and GNP. Okay, and then you can compare between both of these GDP and GNP. Okay, so this is the summary of difference between GNI, gross national income, GDP, and also GNP. Okay, GNI is a gross national income. So if your country producing the goods, we call it as the GDP. GDP is your output. Okay, what is your product? Okay, and then the benefit, or it's not only the benefit, it's only by, we call it as the income. We measure it as a gross national income. Okay, and then we have the gross national product. Okay, that includes earning from all assets owned by the residents. Okay, so gross national product is a overall, cover overall. Okay, and GNP only report how much earned by the country citizen and business, no matter where it's spent in the world. Okay, so that we call it as a gross national product. Okay, so this is the extra reading for you. You can click to the link YouTube given. Okay, so GDP versus GNI. Okay, for further reading, you can read to this link below. Okay, all right, and then GNI I have mentioned earlier. Okay, and then this comparison chart, if you want to go detail with what is the GDP, GNI, and GNP, you can refer to this link below. Okay, here link. Okay, this is the summary. Okay, all right, and then the formulation the same. Okay, you can refer to this link given to you. Okay, okay, so this is the GDP for Malaysia. The growth rate depend on the economic sector. Okay, so we have the at 2000, year 2000, we have about 5% GDP lah. Okay, and 2001 is about 8% something, and currently this is for 10 years period up to 2009, is about 4% something. Okay, so this is contributed by the agriculture, industry, and also services. Okay, what is the services? Including tourism. Okay, including the lawyer, law firm. So that is the services lah. Okay, so this is a Malaysian sector. Okay, so basically the highest will be at this previous condition lah. Okay, this is from 1960 to 2016. Okay, the highest is about $296 billion. Okay, all right, so where it come here lah. Okay, from 2009 up to 2016. Okay, so this is the GDP lah. Okay, the highest will be in 2014 lah. Okay, okay, so this is the gross national income for Malaysia. Okay, start from 2015 up to January 2018. Income is about 301.2 billion. Okay, income for average nation, national income, Malaysia income. Okay, all right, so this is the statistic. Where it come from? That statistic, it come from this Department of Statistics Malaysia. Okay, this department will measure the Malaysia growth. Okay, as well as your GDP and GNI. GDP is what is the product is all about. Okay, and then we have the taxes. Okay, basically some maybe it's quite early to know about taxes, but at the end of the day you will deal with the taxes. Okay, so it best for you to be exposed what is tax is all about, because at the end of the day, as a citizenship in Malaysia, so you need to give your responsibility towards the Malaysia growth. Okay, so one of them is to be very good taxpayer. Okay, so in Oxford Dictionary, what is tax? tax is meant by the contribution levied on person, property or business for the support of the government, which means that government needs some income lah. So that income come from the taxes. Okay, so this is the YouTube link, so you can refer to this link. Okay, so we have types of tax. Okay, also you can refer to this link YouTube given directly here. Okay, so what is the purpose of taxation? Okay, so basically is to ensure the stable growth in revenue to finance the annual budget. Okay, so basically the government, the country government, so they need to allocate some budget in order to sustain the development of the country. So that budget is mainly is about 50% of that budget come from the taxes. Okay, so we have two types in tax in Malaysia. We call it as a direct tax and indirect tax. So direct tax is direct, for example, income tax. RPGT, this is for property. If you sell your properties, so you need to pay these taxes. Stamp duty, if you have the agreement, you need to pay stamp duty. Okay, and also this is petroleum lah. This is Petronas lah. Okay, and indirect. Okay, indirect tax, we have the sales tax, or you have known as a SST or GST. Okay, it's collected by third party. Okay, all right. So characteristic of income, so it come from regular tax. All right. So we have the income distinguished from saving. Okay, so you have another income, so you need to pay your tax. Okay, and also class of income, either is gain or profit from the business. You have profit your business, so you need to pay your tax lah. Okay, and also from your employment, for example, you receive a bonus. Okay, so that is a one type of income lah. Okay, dividend, interest rate or discount also is a income. Okay, and then royalties is also a income. Okay, so that income need to be to pay your taxes. Okay, so this is the example of chargeable income. Start from your gross income up to chargeable income. So gross income, you need to adjust. You need to remove your sales. Your cost, operating cost, and also your stationary income, means by your electric bills, something like that. That is the operated cost. Okay, and then the income, and we call it as a total income. We call it as a pendapatan bersih. Okay, so that is the chargeable income. Okay, so why you need to pay taxes? Okay, you can refer to this YouTube channel. Yeah. Okay, so tax explain, another link related, you can follow to this YouTube channel. Okay, all right. Okay, so why do we have to pay taxes? Okay, so basically, as I mentioned earlier, so you need to be a good responsible citizen. Other than regulation, basically you need to pay lah. Regulation, of course, as a Malaysian citizen, you need to under the law you need to pay. If not, you will be penalized. Okay, so why do we have to pay taxes? Only without government, only there will be no taxes. Okay, so basically taxation is one of the several ways by which government raise money to pay the goods and services. So that is the purpose of the tax. Alright, so basically additional reading, I have given earlier the YouTube channel, YouTube link. Okay, so the most popular collection department for the government is, we call it as a Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri, LHDN. Okay, so this is the most popular. Other than that, we have the custom, you have the immigration, and so on and so forth. But for normally for business and personal income, so we are dealing with the hasil, okay, or Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri, LHDN. Okay, so as per individual taxes, tax based for resident and non-resident. If you are staying in Malaysia, so you need to pay the taxes. Either is if you are non-resident, also you need to pay. Of course, for resident, you need to pay of course lah. Okay, so this is the tax relief for resident individuals. Tax relief. Okay, which means that, for example, you have the income per year. Let's say you have 50,000 income per year, which means that 60,000, you have average 6,000 per month. Okay, 5,000 per month. Okay, you have the 60,000. Okay, so from the 50,000 income per year, so you can deduct, this is the relief, the deduction. Okay, if for you it's about 9,000 deduction, and then for your medical parent, your disabled child, if you have disabled child, you have the exemption about 6,000, and so on and so forth. Okay, so your income minus this tax relief is the total amountable income to be taxes. So how much the tax in Malaysia? So this is the income tax rate. Okay, for example, you have 50,000 minus tax relief. Tax relief total pumpang. Okay, the taxable in amount of income, for example, you have, for example, 50,000 minus the relief, you got about 35,000. Okay, so 35,000, your rate will be 8%. Okay, so it's about something like this. Okay, so the first 35,000, okay, this is the 35,000. Okay, it's about 600 ringgit tax you need to pay to the government Malaysia, LHDN. Okay, so this is the next 15, which means that if you approaching 45,000 income, okay, after less your relief, you will charge about 1,200 tax per year. Okay, so it's it's not quite high. This 5,000 is about M40. But if you are in the top range, T20, okay, household T20, so this is your T20. This is your rate. It's about 25% rate. It's about 10,000, 36,000 per year taxes. Okay, this is for T20 lah. Okay, below than that, here is somewhere around M40, middle income. Okay, so this is the hasil. Okay, all right, so this is the flow chart. Okay, so this is for corporate. Okay, this is just for info for you. Okay, so corporate tax is about 24%. Okay, so below than 500,000 ringgit sales gross, your profit 500,000 profit, so your tax is about 19%. Above than that is about 24%. Suku, quarter, okay, is you need to pay for the government. Okay, so dia ada punya tax relief. Okay, okay, so this is the example tax system in Malaysia, country comparison. Okay, in Malaysia we have payment tax per year is about 9. Okay, number of payment, so you need to pay about 9. Germany is about 9 also, same, and the US is about 10. Okay, so share of taxes, profit 40. Okay, United States is about 40, and also for Germany is about 48. Okay, so this is the comparison lah, tax comparison. Okay, so this is the about income tax. Okay, if you are resident in Malaysia, okay, individuals, it's about 25 to 28. So 28, this is the increment. This is for the T20. If you are income above 1 million per year, okay, it's about 28%. Okay, alright, so this is what you can save, the tax relief. Other than you need to pay is about to pay your zakat. Okay, it just much similar. Either you pay your money goes to the lembaga hasil for country development, or your money is the same amount. Okay, the same amount. If you total tax is about, for example, you have 1,000 taxes. Okay, 50% you can go to the zakat. You need to subscribe to zakat, or which means that it's about 500 go to zakat, and another 500 go to lembaga hasil. Depend. Okay, but in this country, in Malaysia, it's a compulsory for every citizen to pay tax. Okay, but zakat is only for Muslim. Okay, it's not compulsory for non-Muslim lah. Right. So this is the example. Okay, how taxes being deducted. Okay, and then there is tax, income tax, and this is the real property gain tax, RPGT. Okay, real property gain tax means that if you buy, okay, for example here, this is the property transaction. Okay, if you buy your property, for example, you buy your house about 100,000 ringgit, and then few years in the future, okay, you decided to sell your house. Okay, and then your house increased by, let's say for example, the market is about 200,000, so you have the profit is about 100,000 ringgit. So that 100,000 ringgit you need to pay RPGT tax. Okay, if you sell less than 3 years, you need to pay up to 30% taxes to the government. Okay, it's up to 5 years. 5 years is about 15%. So you need to, let's say you need to buy, let's say for example, 2020 you buy your house. Okay, 2025 you decided to sell your house, so the tax is about 15%. If you sell your house in 2026, okay, so that is not, you need to you don't have to pay any taxes. So that we call it as a RPGT. Yeah. Road tax, of course, everyone pay road tax. Okay. Alright, this is an example. Okay, and then you have the GST and SST. Okay, so basically this GST is not on in Malaysia. Okay, so basically it's being abolished, okay, in 2018. Okay, it's being replaced by the SST again. Okay, so basically SST is a 1970 tax. 1970, it's being introduced in 1970. Okay, is a old traditional taxes. Okay, so it used to tax the business. Okay, so for further reading, you can look into this YouTube channel. Okay, alright, so then the comparison is also, you can refer to this YouTube channel. Okay, alright, so which is better for us? Less tax is much more preferable. We as a individuals, less tax is preferable. That is the summary. Okay, depend on you. Okay, all right. So that's all for this first half of the economics. Okay, so ada soalan? Ada soalan? Semua okey? Semua okey? Siap ya?
Okey, Zan.
Alright. Saya tutup dulu